We're officially in the month of Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, and we couldn't be more excited about it. So ahoy folks, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I am your host Tris, and I am joined by a very special guest today, a prominent creator in the Paper Mario community, MuzYoshi.
Thank you. Hello. Very nice to meet you all. I'm sure this might be a voice to the name for a lot of people, honestly.
That's true. So, of course, though, we're here to talk about just how excited we are for this game. There's a lot. I think we got way more than we were expecting last week.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I've been brain rotting so hard.
Well, right off the bat, the obvious thing, because obviously you're an artist here, the art style. Mm-hmm. Like, the updated art style, the updated graphics. That's, like, the one thing I've been thinking about that I know I have to talk with you about.
I know, right? Okay, I have a lot to say about this, actually, so...
Right.
I could natter on all day about it, but, like... So for the longest time, I actually was quite against the idea of a TTYD remake because, you know, there was a lot of controversy around modern Paper Mario art style and how it's shifted and how it's a lot more flat and lifeless and rigid. So for the longest time, yeah, I was quite worried about how a remake would be for TTYD, because I was expecting it to be like, you know, garbage. Okay, I shouldn't say garbage. A lot of people probably really like how Color Splash looks, but yeah, I was expecting it to be a lot like that, but I was very, very pleasantly surprised. It's gorgeous, and my god, the expressions, the charm, it blew me out of the water. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, the visuals behind it all is kind of astonishing. Like, the fact that they didn't just do what many would have considered the easy route of building off of, like, Color Splash and the Origami King and just adapting things into that art style. They really, like, took the Thousand Year Door's art style and updated that specifically. Like, they ran with that idea and just completely built upon it.
There are a lot of things about this art style where I'm looking at it and my artist brain is kind of like, I sort of wonder if there are some, maybe not some of the original team, like in the Flesh and Blood, but at least remnants of the original team, is what I meant to say. Because there's just too much. I've gone kind of conspiracy theorist here, but like, I feel like there's just no way with all of the stuff they've added and the stuff they've built upon regarding it. I look at it and I'm like, just makes me think. It really does make me think.
One thing to think about the fact is this year is the 20th anniversary of the game, so it is entirely possible that if not a bunch of people from the original team, people that grew up with this game that also had just the same amount of love that we have for it, maybe even more because they're working on it. We might have a lot of that.
About that. That's so true, actually.
So that might be like...
I'm not on the team, by the way.
It's worth pointing out that, like, we might have a lot of people that are just also so passionate about this game working on it that they want to give it the best treatment.
Yeah. And to that extent, like, I wonder if a lot of, like, we're getting so deep on this now, but, like, I wonder if a lot of, you know, like, stuff over the years, like the Luigi stuff, I'm sure we'll talk about that, but I have to wonder if they'll incorporate some of that.
Oh, man. I mean, I hope Luigi has a lot of expressive animations as he tells his story, and I kind of hope we get, like, little visuals of his story as he tells it this time.
Yeah, so, here are my thoughts about it, right? I feel like Luigi is a little too disconnected from the actual story to justify it being a whole, like, intermission on its own, like Peach and Bowser, but it'd be really cool if, like, either while he's talking, you can see maybe an animated cutscene, or when you buy the Luigi books, there are actually pictures in them now. That would be really cute.
Yeah, the books might be the best way to handle that, yeah, because otherwise you'd kind of interrupt the dialogue with, like, a cutscene, almost like the intro of the game kind of thing, which could work. But yeah, no, I think that's an area where they can have, like, a ton of new visuals that we didn't have before.
Yeah. They could just go so ham on it. Like, oh my god, imagine little Bluey with his... Oh my god. I love Luigi's partners so much. I hope they bring back, because he had, like, an unused one. I think
Right,
like there's
yes.
the Spoonia. I'm not sure.
Like the one that looked like a little hamburger, I think.
Yeah, and they had one. So they did have one that for the longest time, Sprite resources for the. It was supposed to be like an ice cream, but it turns out that the entire time, the layering had been off for whatever reason. I guess people just assumed it was supposed to be an ice cream because a lot of his partners are food themed.
True.
But a friend of mine, Jasper, compiled them properly. It turns out it's supposed to be just like a rainbow.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, it's
okay.
really interesting. I do wonder if they'll bring him back and maybe the Screamy partner he has, do something with that, because I know that was originally supposed to be like an actual enemy too.
Yeah, like the fact that there's a lot of ideas that went unused with Luigi makes me wonder if this is really where they could do more with it. Even if it's just like even just adding more animations to all like Luigi and his partners is already going to be amazing. Adding more of them would be great. I don't know if they'll go the full route of like adding it as a side mode, because I think part of the charm of the whole thing is Luigi tells you a story, the partner tells you a different story, and then the books
he's totally embellishing it.
And then the books are completely embellished, which is hilarious, but I think we would lose some of that if we played it out.
I kind of agree with you, yeah. I've been sort of saying the same thing, because I feel like that's the biggest thing people have been, like, asking for and talking about, is, like, we gotta get the Luigi side mode. I'm like, would it really work the same, though? I don't know.
The idea behind updating Luigi, like, art style-wise, like, with his partners, and even just getting a little bit there would be great. But I feel like if there was more than that, we kind of would know about it already. Yes, I know people have said from previews, like, Nintendo's kind of being hush-hush about, like, some potential new things in the game. But I feel like that's something like Bowser's Fury, for example, with 3D World. I think they would have gone in marketing, hey, there's something a little here with Luigi. What could this be?
I do wonder. Yeah, I feel like you're probably right, honestly.
I mean, like, it's sus, right? Because, like, it would be nice to have more for Luigi.
Yeah, it would. I think maybe they'll do a little something, but it's not going to be as big as people maybe hope.
Now, with the visuals, especially with Luigi, because in this case, it might end up being with Luigi, we've seen some incredible new animations. We have, like, Flavio singing, we have, like, this snarky animations for different characters, like, thinking poses or just reacting to things. Is there a specific moment in the game, obviously if it's a spoiler we can mark it as such, but is there a specific moment in the game where you hope they go like all out with like a crazy animation? Because for me, it actually is with Luigi telling his story, I want him to pantomime it. I want him to like go all out, like arms waving and like turning to his partner and like them reacting to what he's saying. Like, I want them to go all in on that.
Oh, that would be so sick. You know, I didn't have an answer, but now that's my answer. I've taken it from you. I'll have to think about it. I feel like a lot with the Chapter 4 boss would be quite nice.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be nice to see him be a lot less rigid. True.
No, that would actually be really
He was kind of expressive already, mind you, but, you know, a little bit more would be nice to see.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, with the whole twist that happens with him and, you know, with Mario. It'd be really cool to see what they can do with Mario specifically in that chapter.
That's true.
Actually.
We've seen how much they're willing to do with the animations, and we keep getting surprised by it. I keep using Flavio singing as the example, but that really is like such a special touch that didn't need to be there.
That whole clip that you shared with me, I was so surprised even just watching it, because like you talk to the Bob-omb and that guy looks a little bit like disgruntled, and then you talk to the mouse and he has a little expression as well. Like every single NPC got some love, and it's just like, it's so cute.
Yeah, it's a lot of love. Life. It really does, and it's one of those you don't realize just how much until you look back too.
Right?
Like
I'm gonna go back to the original and be like, bro, this bro's just like staring at me, unemoting.
But even like other Paper Mario games, like even like some of the most recent ones, they have like a few animations, but this really like goes above and beyond on that front. Like there really is a clear amount of love and care being put into this. Yeah,
that's kind of also what just makes me think like maybe there is someone like who really wanted this to happen, and you know, it's just like, okay, now that we're doing it, we gotta put everything into it.
It's us, it's the community, like it's like everyone rallying behind this game for the last like at least 15 years in terms of people wanting to see it getting more love. So it really is all of that, I think, that kind of at least kept its attention in the back of everybody's head, and which is what allowed someone to go, all right, I'm doing it. I'm posing the project. Let's do it. That's what I think.
I'm really excited to see like what newcomers are gonna think of this game, especially with the hindsight in mind with the new games as well. Like imagine, this is someone's either first Paper Mario game in general or first one after only playing the modern ones. I'm really, really curious to see what those people are gonna think of it.
Yeah, me too, because it really is like it is a very different experience. And I think
it's so different.
I think to go from like Origami King to this one is probably a little less polarizing than going from like Sticker Star to this one specifically.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think I love the fact that they're not just dropping the older paper, like I say older, that doesn't sound right, the like Origami King Color Splash, they're not just dropping that era in favor of this one, they're learning from it. Like we've seen like the visual style of all the areas kind of looks similar, where it looks like it's like created out of a diorama. That builds upon it nicely. The music is a huge one. Like Origami King had a fantastic soundtrack that dynamically kind of changed throughout the game. And the fact that they're bringing this here is like, that's such a surprise.
It blew my mind.
Yeah.
Actually blew my mind. Like, you walk into the tavern, and the tavern has its own, like, little Irish sort of theme going on, and, like, obviously, of course, all the different battle themes, everyone's talking about that. All of the new partner themes, too.
Yeah.
Like, they're just going so ham on it, and I love it. And, in regards to the music, like, I will say that I think overall I do sort of prefer like the electronic synth of the original.
Right.
But it's hard to ignore how much more full the new tracks are. The remade tracks are like Rogueport. My god, Rogueport! It sounds so good!
It does.
How does it sound that good? I didn't even think you could make it sound that much better than however it already was. And like even in Smash, because the Rogueport theme was in Smash as well.
That like short mix of it. I for so many years I wanted more of that. And there we go.
Give me more. And then they just never did for like however many years. But now we got it, and my god, it's beautiful.
It's interesting in Rogueport specifically too, because I've seen a lot of like divisiveness on Rogueport specifically. Because on one hand, like it sounds great as like a hub. It's like it really sounds like the start of an adventure. But it also feels polarizing with what Rogueport's supposed to be.
Yeah, I've definitely heard a lot of people saying like it sounds too like friendly and exciting, and it's supposed to be like a drab, worn-out town. I get that, but at the same time, it sounds beautiful. Shut up.
And I mean, they've even addressed this too, right? Like for people that like, maybe they like the new music, they want to hear it, but like they want to experience it with the old music. They added, presumably the only new badge in the game. It looks like the Nostalgic Tunes badge. And
yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that being the only new badge. But anyway, yeah, carry on.
I mean, it's possible some might have gotten replaced, but like I don't know if they would do that. So it is a little odd that it's the only new one.
To be in. Hell yeah.
Oh man, Slogo. There's a lot of weird badges. But that's kind of why Nostalgic Tunes actually works perfectly with it. Like it fits in with like the L and W emblems.
Yeah, and I think it's really sweet that they chose to integrate it into the gameplay instead of making it like a menu thing like Mario RPG did. Like they didn't have to make it cute like that, but they did.
It's another piece of attention to detail that this clearly has going for it. And it's not quite one, but the idea of the Nostalgic Tunes badge being, well, a badge instead of a menu setting kind of goes into the idea of the different quality of life improvements they have going on here. Like it's different features and different accessibility features and different ways that they're making the game appeal to more audiences. So for music, for the nostalgic fans, you have an aptly named badge for you. For probably the biggest quality of life improvement that we know of right now is the adjustments to the fast travel system, the quick pipes.
Oh yeah, can't really ignore that.
I am blown away by that. Like that's like the main criticism of the 1000-Year Door. And
it's not even really like a real big criticism.
Yeah, but it's like probably the main one people give, and the fact that they're addressing it. They completely redid what that room. Because now it's one room. They completely redid what that's like. They tied it to progression. And there's a pipe from the main square of Rogueport that goes right there.
Yeah, and there's also a new pipe in Hooktail Castle as well that I imagine probably leads back to the beginning of the castle, I have to assume. Because it is a green pipe, it's not a blue one, and it's only 7, so it can't be. Like, we've already seen that one is for Petalburg, and then one is for or the second one is for Boggly, so...
Right.
Maybe there are... This is my point. I think they're gonna be, like, more pipes littered throughout the areas to especially Creepy Steeple. I think what they're gonna do with Creepy Steeple is you go there, do that whole thing, spoilers, and then you come back, get the partner, and then go back there again, and then unveil a pipe using that ability. And then, you know, that cuts out a whole trip, because, you know, while you're there, you have to get the item that you need, and then go back, and then go back again. And I get why people complain about that on subsequent playthroughs, but on the first playthrough, I think it's kind of the whole point.
No,
exactly. It would be nice to just cut out that whole, like, really unnecessary trip.
No, exactly. I think it's because it's, like, the same few rooms that you're going back and forth between, but adding, like, these extra pipes, like the one that we know is happening in Hooktail Castle, we don't know exactly where it goes. It might be for something entirely new, like a brand new room for all we know, but the fact that they're not just adapting the game one-to-one, they're addressing feedback from the last 20 years. They're finding new ways to shake up the game a bit. I think is really exciting and is part of what makes it worth revisiting, even for the people that are, you know, well, I still have access to the original game. I don't need to buy the new one, kind of thing.
There are a lot of things that I'm thinking about regarding old content that they were planning.
Right.
For the original, but then they just either couldn't fit in or, you know, didn't figure out quite in time. Like, one really, really big one, as an example, is in the original game, they had code in place to allow you to open doors while riding Yoshi.
Okay, interesting.
And I'm wondering if that may return in some way. That would be nice. My voice is dying, I'm so sorry. I'm too excited.
That does sound like a good quality of life improvement, so you don't have to jump off of Yoshi at every interaction you possibly have.
And, like, talking to NPCs, too, while riding Yoshi would be really nice.
Yeah, there's
just
definitely a lot they
like
could do there. Yeah, exactly. There's a bunch of little things they could do with quality of life there. I mean, the party ring, or whatever it's called, like that little quick menu, which I'm not sure, I haven't, like, compared, obviously, like, exactly how much faster it is, but it feels faster and snappier to just do that.
Even if it's not outright faster, it just, like, it feels nicer, right?
Exactly. It's better game feel, so... Yeah. The way they're addressing different quality of life, I think, is good. And I think one thing that I'm hoping, like probably, like, top of the list for me from what we don't know yet, is I'm hoping you can take more than one trouble at a time.
Oh yeah, that was also a really big one we've been talking about in the speedrun community.
Yeah.
like, we don't do troubles for anything in, like, any categories, but, like, I think that's a very unanimous, like, change that everybody wants. And it seems like they are making some sort of change to the Trouble Center, because they added that whole new NPC. What the hell?
Yeah, Ian Fumis, who just sounds like an Ace Attorney character. They have this character that seemingly is to give you hints on what to do for the troubles, and we know the journal page has a new, like, notes option, or, like, a notes page, which is where, like, Merlovely's hints go, and also stuff for troubles. I hope that's where you can see a list of, like, what troubles you've taken on, and not just hints for which one you're currently in the middle of.
Yeah, I really, really hope so. And on that note as well, I also really, really, really hope that there are better rewards for the troubles, because my god, some of those rewards are so garbage. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this. Oh my god, I shouldn't swear, I'm so sorry. But I'm just so passionate about this. I'm gonna go do this, 5-minute quest to get 10 coins?
Yeah.
Yippee.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping they rearrange it a little bit. Maybe they relocate some of the badges behind it, or maybe relocate, like, even just, like, some of the star pieces, like some of the really ridiculously hidden star pieces, to instead be through this system. Or just some better rewards. Like, maybe this also has some unlocks in the concept art gallery and sound gallery.
Yeah, it would be nice to, like, actually tie some percentage progression to that. I know they are supposed to be optional, but I mean, one of them isn't optional. One of them is something you have to do to get 100% technically, so... Yep,
so...
Actually, a couple of them, because you have the cookbook as well.
That's true, yeah, a few of them. Like a few of them, one much more obvious than the other. But yeah, like, I think the Trouble Center is the one area that we're already seeing they're addressing a little bit, so I'm hoping to see that it's just a much smoother experience now.
Yep.
And feels more worthwhile.
Yeah.
But you mentioned, the whole thing with the speedrunning community, and that is actually something I have like literally written in my notes to ask you about here, because you're very familiar with the speedrunning community, including being part of it yourself. How do you feel about some of the changes that we know about, like the pipe zone that we just talked about, and like certain areas we saw, like there's a new area that Flurry has to uncover, which was previously how you got to the pipe room, but now it's actually blocked off?
Well, actually, you may be surprised to hear this, but all of us pretty much agree that these changes are great because we want it to be a unique, different experience from the original. Like, we don't want the speedrun to be the exact same as the original. It's just really nice to see, like, they're changing the pipe room, they're changing the fast travel system. Maybe there are different ways that we can abuse this. Like, like my total, like, brain rot. This game's not even out, but, like, we're thinking, like, maybe we can go get the 7th crystal star, and if it doesn't work the same as the original, we can maybe like unlock all of the pipes that way by getting a later crystal star. Like, if it does a Twilight Princess sort of thing where it only checks for the last thing you got.
Yeah, that's true, because it doesn't seem to operate the same way anymore. We have to activate the switches. You have this little cutscene now where like it reacts to having collected the crystal star. Yeah. Oh wow, yeah. So if you sequence break, that would be really interesting if you sequence break it, if it just adds everything else, that would be game changing. Yeah,
this is a little bit of a tangent, but that might also cause some problems, especially because like the only places that would really be accessible are Chapter 3 and Chapter 7, because first of all, Chapter 7 has quite a couple obvious spots where you can sneak your way in. We do that in the original. So that's an option, and then the other one is Chapter 3 because, you can get to the blimp. I say you can get to the blimp. We don't know if that's going to be a thing, obviously. But in the original, you can do that. But getting to places like Chapter 4 and getting onto the train is going to be a lot harder without those pipes. But yeah, and the problem with Chapter 7 as well is in the original, once you get the final crystal star, it sets your sequence. And your sequence is actually what allows you to open the 1,000-year door. It's not really anything to do with the crystal stars themselves. It's just the storage state it puts you in. And if you don't revert, but like if you go back, say you didn't get boat mode and you really need boat mode for whatever reason, you go back to Chapter 5 and get boat mode. Your sequence is now suddenly back, but you can't get the crystal star again, so you can't reset that sequence position. So you're pretty much soft out of beating the game. So yeah, those are a couple of the things we've been thinking about, just as a quick example. I say quick, that wasn't quick.
No, I mean, I think that's great though, because it's a matter of, it's a huge part of this community though. It's a huge part of the people that love the 1,000-year door and actually get to experience it, and to be able to look at this remake at this point, the Switch version, and see what they're changing, what's different, and already be thinking about, okay, how would this affect the run, change the run? Like it's not gonna look and feel exactly one-to-one with the original game, of course, but the exact glitches probably wouldn't have worked in the first place. But the idea of seeing new ways to potentially go about it is fascinating.
Yeah, like I do think it's a little naive to say that there are some people that are coming into our server and being like, oh, palace skip definitely isn't going to be a thing. And like, yes, of course it's not going to be a thing. It's not going to exist in the exact same way, especially not immediately. But that doesn't mean it's not going to ever exist. Like, I think that people are not realizing that just because it's maybe possibly in a similar engine to Origami King, which by the way uses some of TTYD's code, that doesn't mean that it's suddenly not broken. Like, the thing about TTYD is that it has a lot of mechanics to exploit, and that's what makes it so dense for a speedrun. That's what allows you to bypass, and not only just the mechanic, but the way the game is set up as well. Like, the linearity of it is all over the place, so it's really a different experience.
And that's why, like you were saying earlier, the fact that enough is changing that this is going to help set it apart from the original game. People that may want to speedrun both, it's not going to be the same run just in HD.
Definitely
it's different.
Nowhere even close. It's not going to be even nearly the same. Like, now we can buy 50 Piata tokens for 150 coins. That's such a huge deal. I can't even explain to you how huge that is. And the fact that on top of that, we should be able to have 9999 coins now, I think. That's what it looks like. I don't think any review copies ever managed to get that much. From what we've seen, but
not from what we've seen.
That's what I'm assuming. It's what it looks like. There's space for it, so I don't see why they wouldn't. They do it in the new games.
Yeah, I mean, they might have to rebalance like some of the stores and some of the more expensive items around that fact, but that shouldn't be too bad.
The only thing that kind of is a little bit sad is you can't speed up the text boxes anymore. It's at a set speed, so you can't, you can't
just like mash through
it. Which, at first, I think a few of us were like, dang, that really sucks. Like, it's gonna make it so much slower, and I think in some cases it will, and it will be kind of annoying. But at the same time, it's also nice because you're not going to break your fingers. Like, you actually have to sort of pace yourself. And it's. I do hope that they go the PM64 route where they just let you sort of hold a button to go through the text boxes rather than, having to press it every single time.
That would be nice.
I don't know why that was only a thing in Mario 64, or sorry, Paper Mario 64. And then they never did it again, but, there's still time. They could be listening.
There is still time.
Are you listening, Miyamoto? Please. Let me hold these.
Well, I have... I know there's probably more in Joe we want to talk about. I have one more of my own notes that I want to bring up that I want your thoughts on, which is the biggest debate about this game right now, which is the fact that it's 30 FPS over 60 FPS. And I think it's an interesting argument because I understand why people want it to be 60. Like, I completely understand. I mean, the original GameCube game was. But I think a lot of people also don't understand that this isn't just the GameCube game with upscale textures. There's a lot more going on here that I think, in terms of game development, enough going on that it might be a case of, do you want stable but 30 FPS? Or really variant but can sometimes reach 60?
And a lot of those people are like, oh, well, maybe they should just make the game properly and then it would run properly. Like, you don't understand what you're talking about, first of all. And second of all, like, from a casual perspective, I don't think it really matters that much. Like, they're going to adjust guards and super guards to account for the frame rate. And it might not even be frame rate based. It could be, like, hertz based or whatever. But, like, even from my speedrun perspective, it's really not... I mean, it's better for us because 30 frames instead of 60 means you can you can do things in 30 frames instead of like double that. So it's nice in that respect. But like I do get the argument, and like the original was 60, so it's quite literally a downgrade. But at the same time, does it really matter that much? Really? Like... It's a baby RPG. It's not like an action game where you're like constantly on the move and like it's really fluid movement. Like it's a baby Mario, Mario game.
It's not something that's going to be actively affecting your gameplay experience that much.
Yeah. I mean, that's what people are saying. Like, the people who are reviewing these copies have all touched on that and said, yes, it is 30, but I've personally found that it hasn't affected it that much, and I got used to it very quickly, and that's really nice to hear.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's great that the people that actually have gone hands-on with it have talked about the fact that, yes, they're addressing it, but it's not a problem. Like, the game doesn't feel more difficult for it, or easier because of it. Which I think is something people were worried about, because Super Mario RPG, that remake, everyone was saying, felt easier than the original game because of improvements and quality of life improvements, and what they did to kind of bring the game out to a modern audience. That's not really the case here. From what I hear, super guards are still just as hard to do.
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. I don't know. I really don't know. I think, honestly, it's going to be fine, and it's just the frame rate bros are at it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like...
Something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think any of us in the community think it's a big deal either.
Yeah,
we're pretty happy about it, honestly.
I mean, good then. I'd say that's a good thing, man. Okay. Well,
so there is one thing I was... Yeah. Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
I was literally just going to say that's it for my notes, so if you have anything else, by all means, please.
Yesterday, I was watching a friend of mine, Minato, do 100% speedrun, and they wanted me to bring up a specific thing, which is in the ending cutscene, or one of the ending cutscenes, the character King K, the Golden Koopa, the KP Koopa.
Yeah.
He's in the cutscene, but they got his sprite wrong. They made him a Shady Koopa instead.
That's right.
I'm wondering if they'll fix that.
I would be shocked if they didn't fix that. It'd be really
funny if they didn't, but I think they will.
I hope so. I hope so. He deserves better than to be replaced.
He does deserve better. I love him. Speaking of which, oh my god, like, did you see that post that was under one of my replies? Someone posted an image of a couple of the enemies laughing at Mario when he gets hit by stage hazards. Isn't that so adorable?
That adds so much. Like we
so
talked
cute.
at length about so many of the animations, but that's such a small touch that
like they didn't have to do that.
Exactly.
They didn't have to.
Exactly. And just like how many enemies have that? Like, does every boss have that? Is it different depending on what you're hit by?
How the heck is Cortez gonna emote?
he'll just laugh. There's gonna be some really interesting ones too, though. Like through all of that. Like if every enemy has a different reaction, that's gonna be a lot for people to look for. And I mean, what if the party? What if what if your partner reacts when that happens to an enemy? I don't know if we've seen evidence of that, but like that would be great.
That would be so adorable.
Like it's.
Oh, and another thing is.
Ooh, yes.
I'm sorry. No, you can finish your point because I was going to change the subject.
I was just going to say, the fact that we can sit here and be excited over what new animations they're adding feels so like weird because it's like part of like the pipe dream of like this is so much more than any of us ever wanted out of a remake for it. It's overwhelming in a good way.
Like, we've been talking about a remake for so long, but this is like not something that anyone ever really talked about. Like no one ever really said, oh, we need new animations for all of the enemies. And now we're just like getting it.
Yeah.
And like, oh my god, the thing where they're all standing outside the 1,000-year door together and they're like all in cutscenes together. It's just like, it adds so much of that.
It does. I can't wait to see more of the
family.
party. It does. I can't wait to see more of the cutscenes where we actually have all the party out together. I don't think they'll all say their lines. Because sometimes, like, in some of those cutscenes, like, each of them has something to say. I don't think we'll get an instance of, like, every one of them says what they said originally, because those would make those cutscenes really long. But I think some of it we'll get.
It'd be really cute if they, like, interacted with each other in some way. They had, like, little quips with each other.
It would. That would be great.
You know how Gumbella doesn't like, Miss Mouse very much, and they... it'd be so cute if they did anything like that.
Man, I would love that.
You get a little bit of a taste of that in Chapter 4, but beyond that, like, they don't really share anything with each other, so it's just, like, my brain is running wild thinking about, like, all of the stuff I would do. Like, I'm going pure fanfiction mode now. I really am.
And this remake allowed it.
Yeah, totally. What was it? I don't even know. the Battle Master, the tutorial.
Yes.
I don't think that's gonna offer much for returning veterans of TTYD, but it's nice that it exists. I guess like it's nice if you wanna practice. I think like stylish moves and super guard timings and stuff. Like it's nice that that's a thing that you can just do, especially like. I don't know, for the people who want to actually gather that sorts of information and compile it and have it out there, it's nice. It's good.
I mean, I think it's helpful too for like players that have never played the 1,000-Year Door before, especially for super guarding. It probably is how you really learn about that system and try to understand it more. But I think it does make me wonder, since you also mentioned like it might teach you like the stylish. It makes me wonder if the timing tutor badge is still there or not, because the timing tutor badge was how you like learned when to do a stylish, and I guess you could theoretically have both, like have timing tutor activated while doing the practice moves here, and it teaches you each stylish then. But I almost feel like if you just had like a section with the Battle Master learn, stylish things as like a section, and then it just teaches for each one.
Obsolete it a little bit. Yeah.
I do think it's a good feature though.
I mean. Yeah, it's nice to have both. Sure, why not? And speaking of like quality of life changes and new additions and stuff, I really want to talk about the concept art and the sound test and how that's actually been implemented, because it's not just straight up, oh, you can go look at all this cool stuff whenever you want. Like, no, it's actually progressive, and you unlock them by collecting every star piece and every shine sprite respectively in, I think it's either each chapter or each area. Like, I don't know if they made it so that,
subdivided
like,
it.
Petal Meadows is one area, Sooktail Castle is another area. I don't know what that specifically is, but there are a couple of star pieces where I'm like, okay, that one's a little silly. Like, yeah, I think they should maybe rework that one. Like the one in Hooktail Castle that you need by getting the super boots first, which is in a later chapter. Like, I think newer players are gonna have a little bit of trouble, especially if they are, you know, very completionist.
Well, those might be instances of where, if, like we mentioned earlier, potentially moving those star pieces to the Trouble Center, for example. So that way you could, could in one full run of a chapter, you theoretically could collect everything. If you ever go back and have to find other things just because of like a trouble side quest or something like that, which then that they could group that under Rogueport.
If there would be some, because if the star pieces are segmented into chapters or areas, like would there be Trouble Center specific star pieces? Would there be like floor panel specific star pieces? Like if you get every floor panel star piece, you get a different piece of concept art.
Oh,
like,
that's true.
It makes me wonder, like, how will they actually be tracked?
It's hard to say. I mean, I know like the sound gallery specifically, like if you like open up like the music, it divides into like Rogueport Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, etc.
Oh, so it is by chapter.
So it is by chapter. So I imagine things like the Trouble Center would probably fall under Rogueport. That's for like the sound gallery. I don't know if so. And I guess that's instead of giving you one massive playlist to scroll through everything. But I don't know how they would do it for concept art. It might be the same way. But then
like maybe they'd have like a misc tab. I don't know.
Yeah, because like one of the pieces of concept art they showed off in the trailer was, you know, the main enemy of Chapter 4 and Flurry on the same page, which feels a little weird because those are two different chapters. So which one would you unlock that during?
Yeah. But, I don't know.
But I do think
we'll be looking out for.
I do think the concept art is incredibly exciting though, because it's like we see how like it's not just concept art for this remake. We're getting concept art from the original game,
dude,
too.
I cannot. I'm gonna explode. I'm so... I actually screamed out loud when we saw that in the opening show. I was not... I don't know why I wasn't expecting concept art. Like, did Mario RPG get anything like that?
I don't think Mario RPG did, but like we had concept art in like the Origami King, so it's like we didn't really have the precedence for it much in the remakes or anything like that.
I just... Oh my god. I'm just like thinking about it in my head. What if we get like concept art for the little Yoshi kids?
Oh, that's gonna be good.
I'm not okay. I'm thinking about it too much and I'm not okay anymore.
I think one of the most interesting things there is I really want to see Bobbery's other designs, because we have his beta sprite from the original game where he's more like a soldier, and I want to see the progression, and I think we'll get to see that. I hope they literally have that exact sprite just in there. Like, I kind of hope they have that in there, in that concept art.
It would be really cute, yeah. Why not? Yeah, and it would be really... It would also be really nice to see, like, if they had any ideas for partners or enemies or characters that went completely unused. Like, there's that one... I forget what it's called. It begins with an O. It's like a machine-looking dude. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It's like blue-ish. It has like a meter on it.
I do think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's like this weird kind of like, it almost looks like, it's like toe-shaped. Yeah, it's like a robot. It's shaped like it has this weird like toe shape to its head, something like that. Yeah.
Like, I wonder if we'll see anything like with that and regarding like notes about them and stuff. It'd just be really nice to get some like insight on these things that we've known about for 20 years and just never knew what their purpose was or how they were intended or like what the ideas were behind them. I can't believe we're actually getting concept art. Yeah. So nice.
It changes so much of this game, like how much understanding we have. Like, it'll be so interesting to see, like, there was this like complete like character that was fully concepted that never saw any version of the game.
Exactly.
So we, 20 years never knew about this character, and then just like there they are. And maybe it's like, I don't know, the character that ended up being replaced by Toadette, for example. Like, it could just be so interesting to see what that ends up being.
I can't wait to see what all of the partners might have looked like all of the original ideas for all of the partners, because you have to imagine, like, they didn't get them all right first try, right? Like,
I mean, we've seen a bit for Flurry.
We've seen Flurry.
Already. Yeah,
we've seen Flurry. Flurry was completely different.
Flurry was very much like a case of they knew what the mechanic was. They knew they wanted like the gust mechanic. Yeah. Had no idea what they wanted her to look like. Too.
I wonder if they based all of the partners around mechanics before they had the designs done for them. Like, I wonder if, I mean, maybe it's not the same for like literally literally every single one. Like, maybe they did have the character in mind before the ability, but I feel like, you know, in a lot of these cases, a lot of the character abilities are based around things that you can do in the world.
Right.
And maybe they had those world ideas before they had solidified the character designs. So.
Yeah, like they might have picked which mechanics from the original Paper Mario 64 they wanted to carry over. And then I was like, okay, so we know we want a bomb. We know we want another Goomba that can tattle. We want another Koopa. Okay, we have those. Now we figure out their designs. We have their mechanics in it. Things like that.
Yeah, like we could so easily have gotten like completely different species, like we saw with Flurry. Like she had concepts in place to be a Bulb and one of those little guys from Yoshi's Island.
Yep.
And also, the one I found really interesting was what the heck are their names? The like big wind guys. They're in Mario Odyssey. I don't remember what they're called right now.
I think they're called like Fwoosh, something like that.
Something stupid like that. Yeah. She even had a concept in place to look like one of those, which I thought was really interesting because I didn't even know that they existed back then.
Kind of. They were like really barely used. It's like anytime there's a cloud that blows air, that's basically it. But
yeah, it's just like, how would that even? I'm sitting here thinking, how would that have even worked? We have the concept right there in front of us. Like, it's right there. We can just look and see how it would have functioned and how it would have looked, and that's wild to me.
And one of my favorite things when we get early concepts like this for any game is when the fan artists get to take a look and they go, okay, what if they did actualize this idea? And then they completely do it. And I hope you do something like that too, because I think that'd be great.
I will be keeping my peepers peeled for sure, especially at Yoshi.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I hope you know how it's not really a spoiler, but like there's like one singular adult Yoshi NPC. I kind of hope that one gets color variations, just so we can see. Like, just in passing, like, whenever it pulls up the random NPC for the train.
You have to ride the train 10 plus different times, so all of the colors.
Exactly.
I'll do it. And it's not even, you don't even get guarantee that you'll see the Yoshi at all. So it's
exactly.
Just like, how many times do you have to ride that damn train to see them all? That would be what? Oh my god, he's gonna get little expressions too. I'm not ready.
True.
I'm not okay. I'm not okay thinking about any of this.
Oh, man. No, but that's what's so exciting. I mean, again, like, this month, it's gonna be so good. There's gonna be so much to cover, so much to look at, and I can just feel it's gonna be beloved. Like,
we're only gonna get more and more as we get closer to the release, which is just so soon. I can't believe how soon it is.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? You're telling me I've been waiting however many godforsaken years, and like it's right around the corner, literally less than a few weeks away.
It's finally starting to sink in that this thing actually exists, and it's not. And this wasn't like a fan trailer that someone uploaded at the same time as a Nintendo Direct last year.
It still doesn't feel real to me. I can't get over it. Every morning I wake up, I'm like, huh, that actually exists, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna be that moment, like first playing the game. Like, that moment between reading Peach's letter and getting Goombella, it's gonna hit then. That exact moment where, like, you get, like, the title drop, it's gonna have that, like quiet moment, just like, oh my god.
Oh, dude, the progressive title screen, too. They didn't have to do that.
That's
true. They didn't have to make the title screen progressive. That makes me wonder if they'll add more to it, because, I mean, we've only seen up to Chapter 3, like, up to Yoshi.
Yeah.
I doubt they'll add more to it, but, I mean, they could. They definitely could.
It would be nice. It would be nice if they add more, though I can understand them not adding more since it is still multiple files. Although I guess Switch profiles are a thing too, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I'm glad it is still 4 files. That's very nice.
It doesn't seem like you can name the files anymore, though.
No.
But it's not that big of a deal, but...
It's unplayable. 30 frames per second, I didn't mind about that, but not being able to name my file? Can't play it anymore.
You know, my big question now, because I know that the file names was like one thing people always thought worked. I don't actually know if it worked for the Yoshi colors, where if you name the file the color.
Oh my god, that was such a myth. Oh,
yeah, I was like, I don't think that works.
I felt that back in the day, like type it on my little computer, on my baby computer, go to GameFAQs. How do I get a different color Yoshi? And I'm like, I need the white Yoshi. I need him. And it's like, you have to name your file color black to get the white one. I'm like, okay,
what?
I'll do it.
That doesn't sound like it works.
That is literally what I saw. That is literally what I saw. And then like I actually got the white one. I was like, damn, it must work. They were right the whole time. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not like that at all.
That's just by chance.
It's by it's
timing.
From like when you get the egg, it puts you into like a 20-minute loop.
Yep.
Based on the in-game time, and then once you hit that 20 minutes, it resets, and it cycles through all 7 colors until he hatches.
It makes me wonder if the timing's gonna change at all for all that. I hope not, but
I don't think it will. I don't see why they would change it. Maybe. I mean, you know what? They could. I can't say they wouldn't. They definitely could.
That'll be interesting to check out.
You can only get the white one by. It's like a 30-second interval. If you miss it, well, you're screwed. We'll be there all day. Speaking of being there all day, I'm thinking about it, and I'm gonna stream this game when I get it. And I'm thinking to myself, how am I gonna decide to like force myself to stop playing? I don't think I'm gonna be able to like physically make myself get up and make dinner. You know what I mean? That's gonna be an order pizza day for sure.
Yeah. No, absolutely. This is going to be a game that it's like, I don't want to put this down. Like, ever.
No. I've waited for this for 15 years. You mean I have to go to bed? No. What do you take me for?
Well, do you have any other points you want to bring up or talk about before we start to wrap up our discussion?
I don't think I have any more thoughts than that. I think I covered pretty much everything.
All right. Well, then I think that about wraps it up for our discussion here. So, Muz, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you at?
You can find me at MuzYoshi on Twitter or everywhere, really. I'm just MuzYoshi everywhere. Very nice to finally, get to actually speak to a lot of the people that are going to be seeing this, because, again, like I said, it's probably going to be a voice to the name for a lot of people. I haven't streamed in a long time. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'll be streaming this game when it releases, so if you want to hang out with me when that drops and get my specific brain rot for whatever reason, feel free.
Well, I'll make sure to include links for you down in the description, especially since you plan on streaming it. I think that'll be lots of fun. But with that, thank you everyone for watching our hype-filled discussion on Paper Mario.
Yeah.
And are you guys as excited for the game as we are? Make sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to GameXplain for plenty more on Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, and of course other things gaming as well. But until next time, thank you so much for joining me, Muz, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye!